Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for Mining Journal, and today I'm speaking with Dr. Jason Berton, the Managing Director of PolarX, which has two projects in the US, one in Nevada and one in Alaska. And Jason, that's what we're focused on today because you've just announced a 160% increase to the resource at Caribou Dome. Now, that's a pretty significant jump. Can you outline what the key changes are since the 2017 resource estimate at Caribou Dome?
Yes, Nari. So the resource tonnage has increased from 2.8 million tonnes to 7.2 million tonnes. That's a contained copper increase from 86,000 tonnes to 224,000 tonnes. It's also the maiden silver resource estimation for Caribou Dome and gives us 1.5 million ounces contained silver. So Caribou Dome is now 7.2 million tonnes, 3.1% copper and 6.5 grams per tonne of silver. And combine that with Zackley, we're looking at 11.2 million tonnes, almost 270,000 tonnes of contained copper, 213,000 ounces of gold, and 3.1 million ounces of silver.
So what were the main factors behind the resource increase?
Okay, so in 2021, we did a drilling campaign at Caribou Dome, and it was very successful. We had thicker and higher intervals, higher grades, than what we previously expected. So one of the flagship attention-grabbing intervals was 19.1 meters at 7% copper. So we started thinking then, there's got to be more to this. I've done detailed structural mapping through there already. I have a PhD in structural geology, which is my background. And I was able to see that the continuity between, along all lenses, along strike and down dip, was better than what was previously modelled. So you could actually stitch them together at a long strike. So we started looking closer at the possibilities of remodelling that. And then also when we did last year's scoping study, it demonstrated internally amongst us that it wouldn't take that many more tonnes to add significantly to the net present value of the project. So we investigated deeper into that and we ended up pulling the whole resource apart. And we reinterpreted all the historical data with new information that we had gathered.
Well, as you say, it is quite a significant increase as it stands, but is there any further potential upside to the resource at Caribou Dome?
Yeah, there certainly is. So with this resource, it only goes to a depth from surface to 300 meters. We eliminated some holes that go down to 450 meters that were in the previous resource. And we came up with more tonnes anyway due to the continuity along strike and thicker widths. But we know the geology continues down at depth. So my ambition is to get back in there and drill deeper holes. Adding about 50% to the current resource is quite achievable if you can bring that down 150 meters, considering it's another 50% depth to what we currently know. There's also an issue with the historical assays. The techniques they used in the 60s just were aqua regia testing, and we found that they significantly underestimated the copper grades from what we've done with ICP-MS and so forth. So we think that with the drilling into some of the historical areas and bringing this down deeper, there's potential to increase the average grade as well. By how much, I'm not sure. So yeah, there's definitely upside in the resource.
Now, obviously, you did refer to your Zackley deposit that's nearby as well. So together, Zackley and Caribou Dome make up the Alaska Range project together. And I understand you're updating the scoping study that's looking at the bigger picture. Can you outline what you've got planned there?
Yeah, sure. Well, Zackley's about 35-kilometre drive away from Caribou Dome, and we hold all the ground in between. And there's numerous copper exploration targets throughout the whole belt that are in our project. Zackley itself is open at depth. There's significant opportunity to increase the size of Zackley as well. Now, the benefit of having done the scoping study is that, and particularly so recently, is that we can immediately update it with very relevant information that we've already generated. So it'll be a short process for us to do that next. The other thing about doing scoping studies is it really helps us prioritize our exploration. So where can we add the best bankable exploration success to a resource, and to ultimately something that you can get into production down the track. So the key focus points for us going forward now, the mine priority in the scoping study will most likely change to a focus on Caribou Dome, whereas before the first cab off the rank was going to be Zackley. So that will impact where you would build the processing plant. So it's most likely now to go to Caribou Dome. And we can consider a much larger output, tonnes per annum, than what we had previously modeled in the scoping study, which was set at 600,000 tonnes per annum. So by doing the exploration with the scoping study in mind, you can get to the market how much this is improving the bottom line the whole way through.
So that's not far away, I understand, Jason, so we'll have to keep an eye out. And thank you very much for taking the time to run through the update today.
Thank you, Nari.